Discover the incredible journey of a billionaire's son, how a new maid changed his life in 30 days. In a mansion looming like a silent giant against the backdrop of sprawling green lawns, Evan Sinclair wandered like a ghost among opulent chandeliers and polished marble floors. At 22, he was the heir to a billion-dollar empire, yet he felt trapped, burdened by his father's relentless ambition. Beneath the luxury lay a suffocating weight of expectations. He looked in the mirror each morning, searching for the man he was meant to be, but all he found was the reflection of someone lost in a sea of privilege. Just then, the new maid stepped into his life. Maria, with her tired eyes shining with resilience, arrived one misty morning. The air buzzed with her warmth as she began her work, dusting the grand piano like an artist stroke painting a masterpiece. As they crossed paths in the vast corridors, Evan caught snippets of her story's late-night serving tables, juggling diapers and bills, all to carve a future for her two young children. Her laughter, rich and real, filled the mansion's emptiness, and he felt an inexplicable connection, something he hadn't experienced in years. At lavish gatherings, while his family mingled and sipped champagne, Evan found solace in the kitchen alongside Maria. Here, beneath the clatter of utensils and the hum of the oven, they shared moments that tasted of authenticity. "I work hard," she once said, stirring a bubbling pot. "But every tired hour is worth it for my kids." Her words resonated, echoing deep within him, awakening a spark he didn't know he was missing. One evening, as crystal glasses clinked and laughter echoed around the dinner table, Evan overheard his father dismissing Maria with a cruel word, an inferior presence. It felt like a slap in the face. His heart raced with indignation. How could they only see wealth and status? Maria was a fortress of strength and laughter amidst the superficiality. Anger surged through him like a storm. "Dad, how can you?" he started, his voice trembling. "How can you belittle her like that? Worth isn't measured by money." The room fell silent, the tension palpable. For the first time, Evan stood tall against the looming shadow of his father's empire, battling against years of ingrained values. The air crackled with unspoken truths as they exchanged glances that bore the weight of their conflicting beliefs. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. When the storm settled, he found Maria in the kitchen, a world apart yet miles closer than before. She was tired, but a radiant smile danced across her face, soothing his anxieties. "Your courage matters," she whispered, providing him a lifeline during his conflict. In that moment, a beautiful friendship was born. They shared lifelines to unsteady hearts caught in chaos and privilege. With each conversation, Evan began to reassess his life purpose, igniting a hunger for something real, something fulfilling. But as he took steps toward this newfound path, the silence from his father promised a confrontation steeped in old money and broken ideals. Evan sensed the distance between their worlds grow heavier, the battle lines drawn. He whispered a silent promise to Maria: he would protect her spirit, the hope she embodied amidst their contrasting lives. And as the threat of his father's wrath loomed, Evan couldn't help but wonder how far would he go to forge a new narrative, one where love and worth transcended wealth. Evan's determination to stand by Maria felt like a fire igniting within him. He understood that the world he had known was fracturing, and as he hurried back into the living room, his heart drummed wildly in his chest. Conversations resumed, filled with laughter and gossip, while he could still feel the weight of his father's words lingering, heavy and suffocating. "Are you all right?" Maria's voice cut through his thoughts like a warm ray of sunlight. She stood, wiping her hands on her apron, concern etched on her face. Her presence grounded him. "Not really," Evan admitted, his voice just above a whisper. "It's frightening to see how comfortable they are dismissing people like you don't matter." He could see the flicker of understanding in her eyes. Maria took a step closer, her gaze intense. You do realize that you have a choice, don't you? His breath caught. A choice. The thought reverberated in his mind, echoing against the barriers he had built over the years. But what choice do I actually have? My father is not living your life for you. Her voice was gentle but firm, a lifebuoy in the stormy sea of his thoughts. You hold the power to rewrite the story, Evan. Don't let him decide who you are. He nodded slowly, absorbing her words like a sponge. The walls around him felt less like a prison and more like a canvas waiting for the first brushstroke of color. But doubt flickered within him, too. What would it cost to challenge everything he had always known? Would his father disown him? Would he be left to navigate this new path alone? As the days wore on, Evan found himself gravitating back to the kitchen whenever he could. Each moment with Maria pulled him deeper into a world where laughter wasn't a luxury but a lifeline. They cooked together, shared stories, and in the process, he shed layers of himself he had thought were essential. Maria's strength gave him courage he never knew he had. One evening, while they prepared dinner, Evan felt a sudden surge of inspiration. Let us take a cooking class. Just you and me. We can learn new recipes, maybe even throw a dinner party for my family. A pause lingered in the air, charged with possibility. Maria laughed, a spark of surprise dancing in her eyes. You want to teach them something new, huh? That's a bold move. It is. But it's time they see more than just the colors of money. They need to see people, like you. For a flicker of a second, hope glimmered in her eyes. You're serious? Yeah. Well, not serious about the party, but serious about us doing something together. You deserve to be heard. The corners of his mouth turned up, daring her to join him in this venture. With his words, an idea sprouted, it nestled into both their hearts, igniting a blend of hope and fear. The seeds of rebellion planted themselves more firmly each day as they plotted their next moves, testing the boundaries of their worlds. Would they both be brave enough to cross them? As news of the upcoming dinner party reached Evan's ears, he felt the familiar grasp of anxiety return. Would it truly bring change, or would it widen the divide he was trying so hard to bridge? He glanced over at Maria, who was now chopping herbs with purpose, her expression set with determination. Are you ready for this? He asked, knowing she was about to step into a world significantly different than her own. Her eyes met his, there was a flicker of something fear-tempered by excitement. I hope we can make them see, she replied softly, laying bare the intensity of her hope, and in that moment, he realized the course of their lives was truly shifting. No longer mere fragments of their pasts, they were now threads intricately woven together. But as the day of reckoning approached, Evan still wondered, would the truth they revealed bring their worlds together or drive them apart for good? Evan spent the next few days on edge, caught in a whirlwind of excitement and dread as the dinner party loomed over him. Every time he caught a glimpse of Maria, it was like a spark of inspiration reignited in him. She maneuvered through the kitchen with grace, her laughter filling the air like fresh-baked cookies. He loved the way she brought warmth into his cold, lifeless mansion, somehow turning what was once just a place into a home. On the day of the party, Evan woke up with a knot of anxiety in his stomach. He could almost hear the mockery of his father's voice echoing in his ears. But he shook it off. This was not just about him anymore, this was about Maria, too. He wanted his family to see her, the kindness, the courage, the strength behind her gentle smile. As the afternoon sun dipped low, Evan dove into preparations, working alongside Maria to craft a meal that blended both their cultures. They made a vibrant paella, the colors swirling together like their own lives starting to intertwine. This needs to shine, Maria declared as she popped a few saffron threads into the broth. Just like you deserve to shine tonight. Evan felt every word resonate within him. Was he really ready to let his family in on this newfound part of him? Was he ready to share Maria in a world that had always felt foreign and judgmental to her? With each chop of garlic and each stir of the pot, he found a little more courage. When guests started arriving, the atmosphere shifted instantly. Evan's family, dressed in their finest, entered the house with an air of self-importance. He felt himself shrink back as they filled the room with loud laughter and superficial chatter. Where was the welcoming warmth he'd hoped for? Evan. His father boomed, a mask of pride adorning his face as he spotted him. You've done a fine job transforming this place. Keeping up appearances, I see. Evan hesitated, the compliment feeling more like a jab. It's not just about appearances, Dad, he managed, the words tasting foreign on his tongue. He caught Maria's eye as she brought the paella to the table, and his heart skipped a beat. Would they understand? Would they respect her as he did? Dinner is served, Maria announced, her voice ringing loud and clear, cutting through the ambient noise. Evan felt an unexpected rush of admiration for her. There she was, standing tall, her apron fluttering as she moved with purpose. As everyone took their seats, he felt a surge of hope. The food was bold and colorful, a feast for the eyes. This is something special, he said, raising his glass. I want to toast to everyone here and to our guest tonight who made this meal happen. All eyes turned to Maria. For a heartbeat, it felt like the world held its breath. Evan's heart raced as his family blinked at the woman who stood there, proud despite the uncertainty that etched across her face. Who is she? His older brother sneered, a hint of challenge in his eyes. I didn't know we were hiring staff to entertain us. Evan's stomach dropped. The room grew silent, tension coiling like a snake ready to strike. Maria's face tightened for just a moment, and Evan rushed to her side. She's part of this family now, he said, louder than he intended, but he meant every word. Maria's eyes widened, a mixture of surprise and pride glimmering in them. And in that instant, Evan realized something crucial. This was just the beginning of the battle to be fought, but it was necessary. The question hung in the air like a balloon ready to pop. Would his family respond with resistance, or was there a chance they could break free from the chains of their own prejudice? As the first spoonfuls were served, he prepared himself for the conversation that would change everything. Would they rise to meet him, or drag Maria back into the shadows? The first few bites of paella, vibrant with saffron and fresh seafood, filled the air momentarily with a strange mix of anticipation and dread. Evan's mother, a traditionalist at heart, glanced skeptically at the dish. What's this supposed to be? She asked, her tone dripping with condescension as she poked a fork into the pile of rice. Maria's smile faltered, but only for a moment. Evan felt a fierce protectiveness rise up in him. This wasn't just food, it was her culture, her art. It's a traditional Spanish dish, Maria chimed in, her confidence rallying back. It's my grandmother's recipe. Interesting, his mother replied, not bothering to look up. But the others at the table dug in eagerly, murmurs of approval rising, mixed with a few muffled curses when the spice kicked in unexpectedly. Evan observed, heart racing. Could there be a bridge built from flavors? His heart sank as his brother's voice broke the moment again, sharper than a chef's knife. So, Maria, how long have you been working for Evan? The question, seemingly innocent, carried a weight that threatened to crush the atmosphere. Not long, she said, her voice steady despite the undercurrent of tension. But I've learned a lot from Evan and from cooking. Sounds like you've been busy learning the ropes, he chuckled. The laughter filled the space, and Evan's anger bubbled to the surface. How could they not see the magic in this moment? Learning the ropes isn't all you need in life, Evan shot back, surprising himself. Sometimes, it's about discovering who you are and standing up for what you believe in. The table fell silent. Everyone now stared. Their forks hovered above their plates, a standoff of sorts, his family against his choices. Evan's heart raced, he could feel the heat of their judgment at his back, threatening to drag him under. Maria's eyes sparkled with unshed tears, her heart clearly caught in the coil of fear and hope. Evan reached across the table, and in that moment, he reaffirmed their bond. I chose to invite her because she inspires me, and she has so much to offer. I hope you can at least give her a chance. What does your little housekeeper inspire you to do? Clean better? His father finally chimed in, his voice low but laced with venom. You might find that what inspires us is more than just cleaning, Evan replied, his voice steady. It's about life and love and sharing those with the right people. Maria shook her head, a frustrated smile creeping onto her lips as she took a deep breath. It's not about what I do, it's about being part of something real. When the words slipped out, they cut through the tension like an unexpected bolt of clarity. To his surprise, he noticed a shift in the room. The air felt different, charged with a tension that didn't feel so heavy anymore. Something opened, if only a little. People exchanged glances, perhaps recognizing Maria for the first time, not just as an employee but as a key figure, a beacon shining light into Evan's previously shadowed existence. Just as the conversation teetered on the edge of better understanding, Evan's younger sister, a curious observer, asked, "What do you believe in, Maria?" The question hung heavily, an open door beckoning. Evan felt a spark of hope. This was a chance, a moment to connect across the divides. Would Maria rise to this challenge? Would she bare her soul to a family that had been so unyielding? Evan's heart raced as he watched her take a moment. She looked around the table and met his gaze, and in that glance, he could see the flicker of her determination. Suddenly, he knew this was far from over. As she opened her mouth to respond, poised to reveal a piece of herself that might change everything, the dining room door swung wide open, interrupting the atmosphere charged with potential. "Sorry I'm late," called a voice from the hallway. Evan turned, dread pooling back into his stomach like cold stones. Who was it this time to shake the fragile truce they were desperately trying to build? The door swung open, and in walked Alice, Evan's older sister, always fashionable, hair cascading like a golden waterfall. She had certainty about her, an automatic allure as if she commanded attention wherever she went. But today, that confidence was blunted by a slightly frazzled look, as though she sprinted from her last appointment. "What's happening?" she asked, her brown eyes darting across the table, landing on the abrupt silence. The family dynamic was so unstable that even Alice seemed to sense it. "Nothing," Evan's mother replied a bit too quickly, a thin veneer of normalcy trying to fill the cracks. Maria had flinched at Alice's arrival, instinctively straightening her posture. Evan could see the way her hands clenched at the table's edge. He wanted to reach out, to assure her that they were still standing together, but the moment had shifted. A new tension emerged with Alice in the room, and Evan realized the weight of expectations just grew heavier. "Everybody's eating." Alice slid into her chair without looking at anyone. "What's with the paella? Trying to impress the family with fancy food?" There was a note of skepticism in her voice. Evan's heart raced. Did she not see the significance of this dish? This was her chance to learn about Maria, to truly connect past appearances. "Yes, actually," Maria spoke up, her voice firm yet soft. "It's a dish that carries memories for me. My grandmother always made it." Alice's eyebrows shot up, surprise merging with curiosity. "Oh. Really? I didn't know you had a family connection to cooking." Evan felt a surge of hope. Maybe Alice would see Maria as he did, someone worthy of respect. But before he could hold on to that thought, his father chimed in again. "Connection or not, you have to understand, Maria, not everyone can afford to dabble in artistic cooking. Some of us have to make ends meet." A silence approached, thickening uncomfortably, stretching just long enough for Evan to see Maria's shoulders slump slightly. He frowned, wanting to object, but the words got tangled in the web of his own anxiety, heart beating hard against his ribcage. Alice stopped pushing her food around and looked at Maria directly. There was something genuine in her tone as she asked, "What do you want to do with your life, Maria?" Evan held his breath, willing Maria to answer honestly, to reveal the passion he knew she carried. A part of him wanted to protect her, to spare her from the scrutiny he feared would come. As Maria looked at Alice and Evan, her eyes sparkled, a flicker of hope igniting the darkness. "I want to open a restaurant," she stated softly but with conviction. "I want to create a space where everyone feels welcome, where food is not just nourishment but a celebration of culture." Evan could see his family's shifting expressions, the mixture of surprise and growing curiosity. They'd never seen this side of her before. "Are you serious?" Alice responded, the edge gone from her voice. "That sounds amazing." For a moment, the table teetered on a precipice of acceptance. Yet Evan could feel the heaviness of his father's disapproval hovering nearby, watching like a predator. "You need to have a practical plan to open a restaurant," his father said, irritation creeping into his voice. "Plans can grow and change," Maria replied without losing her steadiness. "I think everyone deserves a chance to go after their dreams." With those words, the walls began to melt just a little, and Evan felt a shift in the atmosphere. Empathy began to take root where criticism had once thrived. But could it last? Would his father remain distant and rigid against the light Maria radiated? Just then, a thought struck Evan like a bolt of lightning. What if they paired up? What if Maria and he created something together? This thought both excited and terrified him. Would his family accept that too? As the tension in the room lingered on the edge, Evan knew they were caught in a pivotal moment. He felt the heat of possibility, but he wondered, could Maria truly carve a place in this family? And would he find the courage to support her vision against the tempest brewing around them? Just as silence threatened to engulf them again, the clatter of dessert plates interrupted the moment. "Who's up for a little something sweet?" said the server, hoping to restore the evening's spirit. But Evan noticed the glances exchanged around the table, the lingering doubts hanging thick in the air, and he couldn't shake the feeling that the true battle was just beginning. Would they ever really understand what Maria brought into his life? Evan took a deep breath as dessert arrived, the server placing a delicate plate of flan in front of each person. The sweet caramel fragrance filled the air, a stark contrast to the tension still simmering at the table. The dessert was intended as a peace offering, but its lightness seemed futile against the heavy realities looming over Maria's aspirations. As everyone began to eat, the clinking of forks sounded almost deafening. Evan's father chewed thoughtfully, his brow furrowed deep in concentration. Alice took a small bite, her eyes flickering between Maria and Evan. It was as if the flan, so rich and smooth, had an enormous weight to shift. "Evan," Alice began, breaking the silence carefully, "you've always wanted to open a restaurant, right?" Evan's heart raced. Yeah, sort of," he mumbled, fully aware that he had never voiced this out loud to anyone. "Sort of?" The arch of Alice's eyebrow told him she was intrigued. "Well, why not go for it? You and Maria could partner up." Evan's chest tightened. Could he really do that? The thought was thrilling but terrifying. He stole a glance at Maria, her face hopeful but unsure, sensing that the window of opportunity was narrowing. "I mean, it could work," he said slowly. "We could make it happen if we planned properly, right?" Alice leaned forward, curiosity lighting her features. "What would your menu look like? What concept would you go for?" As they spoke, Maria listened intently, the warmth of their conversation wrapping around her like a blanket. Evan felt an urgency building within him. This was her moment, and he wanted to lift her up. "We could showcase her heritage," he said, excitement in his voice. "A fusion of flavors from her culture and mine, something that tells a story." Maria smiled softly, and for a heartbeat, the air felt lighter. Their dreams felt tangible, pulsing like a heartbeat rising above the visual distractions of the room. But just as quickly, the shadow flickered back across Evan's face as he considered his father, who sat silent, turning his dessert into an abstract art piece on the plate. "Just because you want to do something, doesn't mean it's practical," his father interjected, pulling attention back to the tension. "Dad, that's not fair," Evan said, rallying his courage. Maria has something special. We could create something genuinely beautiful. Beautiful? His father's voice rose slightly, challenging Evan's conviction. It sounds more like a fantasy. The atmosphere shifted sharply, the moment hanging like a balloon ready to pop. Maria's shoulders slumped again, a flicker of hurt crossing her face before she composed herself. Not a fantasy, Maria said quietly, her head held high. Every great restaurant starts with a dream. It's about hard work and vision. I know it won't be easy, but isn't it worth a shot? Evan felt his heart surge with admiration. There was strength in her words, a finality that surprised even him. Everyone paused, their forks halting mid-air. I've always believed that following a passion means finding purpose, not just a paycheck, Maria added, her voice steady. Well, good luck with that, his father shot back, dismissing her with a wave of his hand. The silence that followed felt suffocating. Evan's breath caught in his throat. He watched Maria's expression crumble slightly, the light dimming in her eyes. What could he say to mend this? His hands felt clammy against the table surface. Alice's gaze shifted between her family and Maria, clearly sensing the degree of hurt rippling through the room. Maybe we can all think about how we support each other's dreams, she suggested hesitantly. It's not easy for any of us. Evan held on to that glimmer of hope. Could this family really shift their mindset? Would Maria's dreams, the ones he wanted to nurture, ever be embraced? As dessert plates were cleared, Evan felt the weight of the conversation settle like a cloud over them. He glanced at Maria, searching her eyes for resolve, and desperately hoped they could find their footing before all their dreams slipped through their fingers. That he leaned closer to Maria. His voice low. What if we made a plan, just the two of us? We can figure this out together. Maria's eyes sparkled again, filled with a quiet determination that reignited Evan's spirit. He began to smile, and in that moment, he realized they were standing at the edge of something vast and uncharted. But just as the storm seemed to clear, he heard his father's voice again, cutting through the fragile victory. Let us not get ahead of ourselves. Reality has a way of teaching harsh lessons. Evan's heart sank. They were still far from acceptance, and he feared the path ahead would be paved with challenges that could test them both. The night carried on with uneasy conversations, laughter that felt forced, and a lingering sense of unfulfilled dreams. For Evan and Maria, the journey was only just beginning. As he helped clear the table, Evan's mind raced with possibilities, the fire of determination growing. What could they do to shift the family's perception? Little did he know, the next chapter of their story was about to unfold in ways he could never have anticipated. Evan's thoughts whirled as he loaded the dishwasher with dinner plates. Each clank seemed to echo his father's words, the doubts swirling inside his heart. How could he possibly convince his family, especially his father, of the potential in a dream? He turned to Maria, noticing how she smiled while offering her help. Her presence sparked something inside him, giving him a flicker of hope. I mean it, Maria, he said, leaning closer. Let us write down our ideas. If we craft a solid plan, maybe we can persuade them. Maria paused, her hands hovering over a couple of plates. You think your dad will really change his mind if we laid everything out? Evan sighed, glancing at her. I don't know, but we have to try. I believe in you. I believe in us. The way she looked at him then softened everything around them. The shadows from their earlier discussion seemed to fade. Okay, she finally replied, a spark igniting in her eyes. Let us make it happen. Together. After they finished cleaning up, Alice rushed in with her phone, her excitement infectious. I've been thinking about a way to help. Why don't we start a social media page? Showcase your cooking, Maria. People could see what you can do. This caught Maria off guard, her voice barely a whisper. Do you really think so? Absolutely. Alice exclaimed, bouncing on her heels. We can create a buzz and start showing everyone how amazing your food is. If we go viral, your dad might see it differently." Hope blossomed anew. As the night rolled on, they gathered around the coffee table in the living room and began to brainstorm. Evan felt the energy shift. Ideas flowed like currents, and laughter filled the spaces that had held tension moments before. Alice, with her vivid imagination, tossed out suggestions, and soon they were crafting the first video concept, complete with a theme that wove together their cultures. "Let us call it Flavor Journeys," Alice said, her eyes sparkling. "The idea connects our backgrounds," Evan added, enthusiasm bubbling up. "It's not just about food, it's about stories. Let us show that." Maria beamed, her confidence visibly growing. The trio spent hours thinking up recipes and potential video shots. As they plotted out their first cooking video, Evan couldn't shake the feeling that something monumental was unfurling. However, beneath the excitement, Evan sensed shadows lurking. "What do we do if Dad sees the post?" he asked suddenly, an unwelcome dread creeping in. Maria's smile faltered. "We just have to hope he sees what we see, that it's not just a whim, but something real." That reality loomed large, but as they shared laughs and ideas, the night unfolded magically. Each of Maria's suggestions felt like bricks laid on a path leading toward their dreams. As they wrapped up for the evening, Evan felt the rush of courage. "Okay, let us do this. We'll film, and no matter what he says, we stand strong." Maria nodded, matching his determination. Together. The next day came too quickly, filled with the buzz of uncertainty. The trio planned to film their first video in a small kitchen studio Alice had reserved. But as they approached, Evan couldn't shake off the gnawing anxiety. Would they capture the essence of what they envisioned? And more importantly, would it change anything at home? As they prepped the kitchen, a sudden thought struck Evan. What if they invited his father to watch the video once it was uploaded? That sparked a burst of adrenaline, a daring hope overshadowing fear. But was he truly ready to confront his father's skepticism and face the possibility of rejection yet again? With each moment ticking down, Evan felt more alive. If they could make this work, it would be more than just a dream. Little did they know, a surprise awaited them that could alter the trajectory of their plans entirely. The sun filtered through the kitchen window, casting warm rays over the brightly colored utensils spread out on the counters. Evan glanced nervously at his friends, who were meticulously arranging ingredients for their first video shoot of Flavor Journeys. Maria was humming under her breath, pouring as much joy into the mixing bowl as she was the ingredients. "Okay, so what's the first dish?" Alice asked, her eyes gleaming with excitement. "Mole poblano," Maria stated, her voice strong but tinged with a hint of apprehension. "It's a family recipe. My grandmother used to make it, and it's special." Evan felt a swell of pride swell inside him. That's perfect. Family stories are what this is all about. As they set up the camera, a sense of electric anticipation filled the air. Evan's heart raced a little faster each time it crossed his mind that his father might see this. The thought both thrilled and terrified him. "Ready?" Alice said, her camera aimed squarely at Maria. Maria took a deep breath, her eyes glimmering with a mix of fear and excitement. "Let us do this." With the camera rolling, she introduced the dish, weaving in tales from her childhood. Evan watched as her face lit up, losing herself in nostalgia. The kitchen transformed as she cooked, her hands deftly moving from chopping vegetables to stirring a bubbling pot. Evan helped where he could, handing her ingredients and offering little encouraging smiles. They shared moments filled with laughter and light-hearted banter, making it seem like they were in a world of their own, separated from all expectations. "There. This is the secret blend of spices," Maria announced, her enthusiasm contagious as she held up a small jar. "Just like magic," Evan proclaimed with a grin. But as the video progressed, Evan's mind wandered. He knew the stakes were high. with every scene they filmed, it felt like they were inching closer to a pivotal moment that could unravel everything. Once they wrapped up, they all sat together, reviewing the footage in a cozy corner of the kitchen. "Wow, Maria! You were amazing!" Alice squealed, clapping her hands. "Seriously," Evan added, nudging her lightly. "I think you portrayed the passion perfectly." But just as their spirits lifted, Evan's phone buzzed sharply. His father's name lit up the screen. The call felt like an incoming bomb, and all three froze. What if he's calling about something bad? Maria's face paled. Or maybe he wants to talk about the video, Evan dared to hope. "Should you answer?" Alice asked, eyes wide. Taking a deep breath, Evan silenced his ringing heart. "I need to. I can't hold back." He pressed accept, and his father's voice came through, rich but steely. "Evan, we need to talk. I just saw something on social media." His stomach twisted in a tight knot. "Dad, why are you doing this? You're wasting your time on frivolities." Evan's heart plummeted. Each word felt like a barrier, and he could almost hear Maria's light dimming next to him. "It's not just frivolous, Dad. It's about passion and family." "Passion doesn't pay the bills," his father retorted sharply. Evan's resolve hardened, fire igniting within him. "What if it does?" There was a pause at the other end, a deep breath almost felt palpable through the silence. "You truly believe that? You're going to fight for this?" "Absolutely," Evan declared, strength filling his voice. "With everything I have." As he hung up, Evan turned to Maria and Alice, who were watching him swim through a sea of emotions. "I don't know what he's going to say next, but I know we can't stop. This is just the beginning." The tension hung heavy in the air, unvoiced fears swirling around them. Would they have the strength to continue despite what lay ahead? In that moment, as they locked eyes, another thought crossed Evan's mind: what if his father turned up unexpectedly to see the video himself? What would that confrontation look like? As the three of them stood there, a silence fell, pregnant with possibilities and uncertainty. The real question lingered: was Evan ready to face that potential confrontation, or would it break him? Evan let out a shaky breath, a mix of relief and dread washing over him. He turned back to the screen, the clips of Maria's cooking dancing before him. Each moment seemed infused with the love she had for her grandmother's recipe, the very essence of family. But now, doubt flickered in the corners of his mind like an unwelcome shadow. "What do we do now?" Alice asked quietly, breaking the tense silence. "We keep planning," Evan answered, his voice steadier than he felt. "We can't let this stop us. Maria, your story deserves to be told." Maria nodded, visibly fighting her own fears. "I want to share my family's tradition." But if he doesn't approve? A wave of empathy washed over Evan. He understood. His father had a way of making any enthusiasm feel petty. But he also felt an unwavering pull to support Maria's passion. "It's okay. Your grandmother would want you to show the world you're cooking." Steeling herself, Maria smiled faintly. "Okay. Let us keep going. I'll prepare the next dish." As they brainstormed, the atmosphere gradually lightened. They chatted about ingredients, tossing ideas back and forth like playful banter, drawing out stories that made them laugh until it hurt. Each suggestion felt like a step away from the looming darkness of Evan's father's disapproval. "Next up, we should tackle tres leches cake," Maria declared with newfound determination. "It's a dessert my family loves. It's rich and moist, just like our memories." "Perfect," Alice cheered. "Can we add a twist? Something unexpected?" As the three of them collaborated, Evan felt a flicker of hope. This was what the Flavor Journeys was really about, not just cooking, but healing and storytelling, weaving together the threads of their families. They plotted how they could include more personal elements, more stories, even small flashbacks of Maria baking with her grandmother. The phone buzzing again was unexpected. This time, it was a text from an unknown number. "Evan, this is about your video. I think you need to see this." They all exchanged glances, curiosity sparked. "Who could it be?" Alice asked, peering over Evan's shoulder. "I don't know, but it feels important," he replied as he opened the message. A video link appeared, the thumbnail blurry yet familiar. "Is it about your dad?" Maria asked, worry lacing her voice. Evan nodded slowly. "Or about our video? What if it's bad?" "Let us find out," Alice encouraged, her voice barely above a whisper. With a shaky finger, Evan tapped the link. The video loaded, revealing a blurry image at first, then gradually sharpening to show a scene he recognized, a family gathering centered around a dinner table. His family. His heart raced, confused whispers swirling in his mind. "What is that?" Maria wondered aloud, tension creeping back. "I have no idea," Evan murmured, fear creeping back in with the realization that this could unravel so much more than a simple cooking show. As he pressed play, the sound of laughter reached their ears, followed by a voice that felt incredibly familiar. Evan's breath caught in his throat. This wasn't just any home video. It was personal, an intimate glimpse into moments he thought only existed behind closed doors. And then, everything changed. Just as the video unfolded, full of laughter and warmth, the doorbell rang. The abrupt sound pierced the air, and they all froze, eyes wide with anticipation and dread. "Who could that be?" Maria asked, her voice trembling. Evan's heart raced as he took a step toward the door, knowing that whatever waited on the other side could change everything. He hesitated, breathless. Would it be his father? Would this knock bring the confrontation he feared, or an unexpected ally? The question hung in the air, heavy with potential. Would he find strength or chaos waiting just beyond the threshold? Evan opened the door hesitantly, his heart pounding louder than ever. Standing there was not just anyone. It was his father, dressed sharply in a suit, a look of determination etched into his features. The tension crackled as Evan's breath hitched. Did he come to argue? To confront? Or was there something else lurking beneath the surface? "Dad," Evan managed to say, barely a whisper. "I saw the video," his father replied, a surprising calm washing over his tone. "I need to talk to you." Unease settled into Evan's chest. He retracted instinctively but steadied himself. This was the moment he had both dreaded and hoped for. "About the cooking? About Maria?" "About everything," his father replied, step taking him inside as the door creaked wider. The three friends stood awkwardly behind Evan, stealing glances at one another. Would this lead to confrontation, or a chance to bridge their worlds? The room filled with silence, the weight of unspoken words heavy in the air. Evan caught Maria's gaze, her believe-it-or-not optimism radiating confidence into the space. "I didn't realize how closed off I had been," Evan's father said, surprising everyone. Watching her, it made me rethink what I've always believed. Passion over money. I just want you to see her for what she truly is," Evan insisted, his voice trembling but strong. "Not just an employee, but someone who brings life back into everything we take for granted." His father studied him, assessing the sincerity in his eyes. "I don't see how this can become anything real. It's all just a dream." "Dreams are where great things begin," Maria interjected, stepping forward as she clung to her courage. "This isn't just about cooking, it's about family, heritage, and connection. Everyone deserves a chance to shine." An unexpected tension hung between the two men, the gulf between their respective worldviews glaring. "Tell me your vision," his father challenged, a hint of curiosity sparking beneath the surface. Evan exchanged a look with Maria, a silent pact of solidarity resonating deeply between them. "We want to create a restaurant, an extension of our cultures," he began, feeling a surge of determination. "A place where anyone can share a meal and find connection. They don't have to be wealthy, they just need a love for good food and new stories. The silence stretched, heavy with vulnerability. It's not idealistic, his father spoke finally, deliberating with a furrowed brow. It's naive. Maybe, Evan countered, emboldened. But you were the one who taught me to stand for what I believe in. We're asking you to see it for what it could be, not what you think it is. The room exhaled an unsteady breath as Evan's father hesitated. Finally, he nodded slowly. I've been trapped within my own perceptions and expectations. It seems I haven't allowed room for change. Evan's heart leapt, hope lighting a flicker of possibility. Will you help us? Help you? His father echoed, considered the prospect, a look of gravity grounding his expression. If I invest, it must also succeed. I don't want to waste resources on whims. It won't be a whim, Maria said with fierce conviction, the warmth in her voice wrapping around them. This is about legacy, not just profit. About passing down a love of food and family. I'll do it, his father declared, surprising everyone in the room. But I want a say in how it's run. I want to ensure it's practical. I need to keep my family safe from failures after all. Evan felt an enormous weight lift from his heart. Of course, Dad. We might have different viewpoints, but we can work together. We can plot out a plan, ensure it's grounded but still holds our dreams. His father's expression softened. Let us see how I can support you. Show me the way, son. Together, we can bridge the gap. As the words sunk in, laughter filled the room, and roofs that had once felt suffocating began to lift. Evan couldn't help but smile at Maria, her eyes sparkling with vibrant joy. We can plan everything. Our menu, our stories, our cultures. I can help with the recipes, Maria added softly, her fingers dancing in excitement. Let us do this, then, he said, heart racing. Together. All of us. It was a promise renewed, a vivid tapestry awaited, woven from diverse threads. Their dreams were now a shared narrative, a story waiting to be written. Suddenly, the world didn't feel so daunting. Instead, it shone brightly with possibilities. They stood together, ready to embrace the future, no longer shadowed by fear or disconnect but united by love and understanding, and amidst the transformations, Evan felt a warmth in his heart. They were rising together, bending the relentless grip of expectations. It was time for a new legacy, a legacy built on the love for food, family, and dreams shared together. As he looked at his father, Maria, and Alice, hope blossomed even in turbulent times. This was just the beginning of their incredible journey. If you want to see how they conquer every challenge ahead, this is the moment to show your support. Subscribe immediately to our channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep this journey alive. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this ending. We want to hear your thoughts. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.